The Montreal Canadiens added a ton of skill this summer, and although Ivan Demidov's getting a ton of attention, Michael Hage's top 6 level tools could also make him an NHL star.
Hage pulls in, fires and scores! Viper strike for Michael Hage.
Hage had an interesting progression over the past year and a half with the Chicago Steel in the USHL. After missing almost a full season in his draft -1 year due to a shoulder injury, he came back and looked the part of a pure skill and speed forward. He was blowing past defenders with his crossovers, attacking their feet with dekes, and making passes at full speed that really showed his vision and his awareness. And then, for the first half of his draft year, Hage seemed to flip a switch and decide that he'd be focusing on his off-puck game. He started making reads, timing his net drives, and positioning himself proactively in all 3 zones. In short, Hage was learning to do the right things to become a more complete offensive threat. But once Hage hit the month of March, he hit a different gear completely, combining both the dynamic on-puck skill he already possessed with the newly polished off-puck instincts to make for an unstoppable toolkit. And as a result, Hage ended the season with 31 points in his last 16 USHL games. We'll start with Hage's skills and work our way to the habits and reads he slowly incorporated into his game. Above all, Michael Hage is a puck carrier. He loves to challenge defenders head-on, freeze their feet with a weight shift, and drive wide on them. We see that here as he uses crossovers to maintain a dynamic posture before driving his left leg into the ice to beat the defender with 1 forward stride. 1 pass at a full speed later, and the puck is in the back of the net. More on that later. This next clip is an even better example of Hage's usage of weight shifts to solve problems through his puck carrying skill. He fakes a move inside before shifting his weight with the perfect timing and precision to beat his opponent wide without losing his balance. He sets up a screen shot, and the goalie saves it. The reason these weight shifts are so effective isn't just the timing and the precision of them. Hage constantly uses crossovers to get up the ice. By nature, crossovers make it really hard for defenders to predict a player's path. The best forward skaters in the world, McDavid, Nylander, Barzal, those guys barely use forward strides at all when carrying the puck. It's all crossovers, and Michael Hage has the same habit. When you combine that crossover usage with a really great sense for when and how to use weight shifts, you get a dynamic transition force that constantly makes defenders bite before steering the puck away from them. Add to that Hage's willingness to cut to the middle, his ability to drive wide and use opponents' triangles, the space between the stick and their skates, to get tough shots off like this one, and his habit of building speed under the puck before receiving it, and Hage is just incredibly difficult to contain when he gets going. At his top speed, you're just not catching him from behind, and good luck figuring out where he's going when he's barreling down on you. On top of the puck carrying tools we've already talked about, Hage is a genuinely great stick handler. He's got a really wide arsenal of dekes. He can toe drag, forehand, backhand, forehand, and he blends it all with a large wingspan. He doesn't need to keep the puck in tight to control it either. He can take it from full extension, pull it back between his feet, and then bring it back out with just as much comfort. This next clip shows the poetry in motion. In transition, mid-acceleration, he goes skate to stick, sells the shot with the hip pocket, and then baits the defender into a poke check before cutting to his backhand and roofing it. A great blend of pretty much everything we talked about so far. And that's what's so alluring about Hage's tools. They blend together frequently and efficiently. All the things we talked about, they rarely show up in isolation, and the confidence Hage has in his abilities just leads to more truly amazing sequences. This next scoring chance is another great example. He catches a puck in the neutral zone, a couple of quick crossovers, he attacks the defender's heels, shows off his creativity and his range of motion, and almost scores out of nothing. And the last key aspect of Hage's puck carrying skill is his usage of the hip pocket, which makes it tough to know whether he's going to shoot, pass, or deke. Hage exploits this posture frequently. He keeps opponents guessing, puts them on their heels, and takes advantage of a moment's hesitation to fire through a screen, find a lane through on goal with a deke, or just simply thread the needle on a pass. We see another example of Hage's usage of the hip pocket here, but I'll take this opportunity to segue into another key part of his puck skills, his reactions. Hage reads and reacts incredibly quickly when carrying the puck, whether he's getting off the wall like he does here, or whether he's carrying the puck in open ice. It's all pretty much the same. It's not just when deking either. Watch how quickly Hage goes from pass reception to drop pass here. He gets rid of 2 defensemen with this play, allowing his teammate to walk in and score. One of the reasons Hage is such an effective playmaker and puck carrier is the scanning. He's always identifying what's going on around him, how much space he has to work with, and doesn't need to take a moment after catching the puck to figure that out. He can quickly execute on reception, and he can always stay one step ahead of the play due to his reaction time and play speed. On the subject of playmaking, let's start focusing on what's improved over the past year. Hage's overall passing arsenal has grown. He started getting comfortable making different kinds of passes and experimenting with timing. We just saw a two-touch spin pass. Here we have a play where he extends his arms out while getting hooked to get enough leverage on his pass, and on this next play, a quick read off the breakout allows him to quickly move the puck and avoid getting trapped. These are the playmaking improvements that lead to results in the NHL. A lot of speedy playmakers get stuck trying to leverage their skating on every play, when actually, it's mental speed, not foot speed, that makes a good NHL playmaker. Hage's improvements when it comes to using delays, changes of pace, quick reactions, and tactical reads to break down defenses and open up passing lanes is going to lead to his success. We see an example of that here as he makes a heads-up play by identifying and exploiting his teammate's net drive, which allows another to walk in and score off a cross-ice pass. Probably the biggest improvement in Hage's game, though, is his off-puck movement. As a high-speed, puck-carrying forward, it took him a while to understand that sometimes the best play is to let his teammates play. Hage gradually but noticeably improved his ability to pace himself, to time his routes into pockets of space, and to draw opponents out of position with picks, overloads, and more. This resulted in scoring chances that the old Michael Hage would have never been able to access because of his over-reliance on speed. This reminds me of a quote from a legendary soccer player, Thierry Henry, about his time in the Clairefontaine Academy in France as a child. He could beat anyone on the pitch in a straight line race, but one day, his coach came to him and said, "You're not allowed to beat defenders wide with the ball anymore." The point of that instruction was to teach Henry how to be useful outside of his pace, to come short, to use give and goes to run into space, and to use timely bursts of speed to create chances. We're seeing the same thing from Hage here, by focusing on his off-puck skills, his ability to offer close support, to play off the pass, to time his movement into space, and to draw opponents to him away from the play. He's learning how to better create for his team. Defensively, Hage's impact has also grown over the past year. He started applying his vision and anticipation to his forechecking. He still primarily uses his defensive game as an offensive tool, mainly applying his efforts on the forecheck or in situations where he senses an opportunity for a scoring chance. But you'd rather see these glimpses of defensive ability sometimes instead of never. Hage's defensive game flows through stickwork. His physical game isn't polished despite his 6-foot, 190-pound frame, so his stick carries a lot of the workload when it comes to disrupting plays. He gets the stick under his opponents, uses a combination of lifting and poke checking to give himself a fighting chance, and then he uses crossovers to quickly escape contact once he secures a puck. Although Hage isn't yet involved enough in his own zone, the way that he applies pressure and creates turnovers on the forecheck could easily apply to his defensive zone play if he's given the time to develop it. This is one thing we often see improve in forwards with above-average hockey sense as they climb the ranks, especially in the NCAA. College hockey is a lot more structured and tactical than the USHL, and a lot of forwards in Hage's mold have come into that league with the same hurdles and overcome them. Most recently, Macklin Celebrini, Frank Nazar, and Will Smith are great examples of that. The way Hage forces players to the outside, stifles them along the boards, and creates loose pucks for himself should slowly but surely bleed into his defensive zone play. His forechecking skill is still an improvement that's been noticeable when watching the first few games of his 2023-24 season versus his USHL and playoff tape. He's already working on these things and improving, and we don't expect that trend to slow down anytime soon. To delve deeper into Hage's puck protection, like we mentioned, it isn't polished yet, but there are bits and tricks that he's picked up, like the usage of his arm here, that help him extend possession plays in the offensive zone. Most of the time he does what he does here, which is get rid of the puck as soon as possible, and it certainly leads to a result for him, but sometimes he'll flash some impressive mechanics off the cycle. Watch as he extends his leg to cut off his opponent while pressured here, and you can clearly see the pathway to being at least a decent puck protector due to these habits. This is another thing that usually comes with time and development. Prospects learn to use their bodies better to win battles as they face bigger and stronger opponents, and Hage's commitment to Michigan should clearly help him in that regard. It's still a weakness in his game, make no mistake. He can get out-muscled along the boards, struggle to win his battles and leverage his weight, and even in open ice he can get leaned on when going shoulder to shoulder and just lose his balance. But there have still been some decent improvements in this area of his game. This clip is from the USHL playoffs. Watch as he pushes his left leg back into the defenders to create just enough space for him to get the puck and make a slot pass. It's details like these that make a difference in the NHL. Lastly, one issue that Hage will have to iron out is his decision making when carrying the puck. Sometimes, even with clear options to choose from, Hage will still try to take on 2, 3, even 4 defenders instead of playing give and go or changing the angle of an attack with a cross-ice pass. Watch this next 2v2 rush play as he fails to identify an opportunity to isolate the defender and then fails to spot a chance to push the puck out to his teammate and drive the net. Instead, he takes on 2 players. Working on his decision making will be key to maximizing the impact of his puck carrying skills. Overall, Hage's tools, his skating, his stick handling, his shot, and his passing, combine in ways that could lead to incredible results in the NHL. And although he has some things to iron out, the fact that he's improved his off-puck routes, his defensive game, and his reactions throughout last year just further improves his chances of being a top 6 forward for the Montreal Canadiens.
A drop, Hage moves in, and he scores! Oh, what a move! Michael Hage undresses the Stampede defense.
Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to like and subscribe, and check out EP Ringside for more prospect analysis.